Hashtag FGB, I appreciate it. I'm really against spending all that money on Payne. Don't you think we can find our own stud in the draft and save the money? The track record is great so far. Your thoughts? Thank you so much for that super chat. We do appreciate it. I think Da'Ron Payne is the best defensive tackle in football. 11.5 sacks, 20 quarterback hurries. The Lions had 3.5 sacks for their defensive tackles this last year and 8 quarterback hurries. I think if you got a guy with his ability, you put him with Aiden Hutchinson, Pascal, and everybody else, this defensive line is dominant. I think it would be dominant. And I'm willing to spend some money on a dominant player who's young. He's not old, 25 years old. So if you were to do like a 5-year deal, you're going to get all that 5 years from him. And he's just been a physical specimen. I would love to get it.
You give him $8 million a year?
Da'Ron Payne, he's going to demand way more than that. We're talking
I'm just saying.
He 11.5 sacks for a defensive tackle. He's gonna demand way more than that. He's the best DT in football. Well, in free agency, maybe in football. Aaron Donald injured. He's all pro. Da'Ron Payne's all pro. So he is a massive piece. What do you think about spending money on Payne, Ant-Man?
I think you do it. I mean, I get the rationale behind drafting the guys and building them up, but think about how much draft stock we've already put in the defensive line. We've got Hutch, we've got Aleem. I mean, Levi is still to be decided, but you've got Houston, who's young. You've got Julian, who could maybe make a miraculous comeback, who's young. I think, you need to balance it out with some good veterans in there. I mean, you saw when Kaminsky arrived and started playing well, immediately the edge room got a lot better. Because you had a veteran in, knows the game, came in, played really well for us. You need that on the interior as well. What have we missed? We've missed veteran leadership on that interior line. Michael Brocker's bust. Nick Williams, worse than a bust. We've had no one in there to help Aleem McNeil over the last 2 years that we've been in. And Bugs and Benito have come in and done very well, but they are rotational guys who will come in and do good things, but they ain't, like you said, like DaRon is, the mainstay guy, the guy who comes in, makes the big game-changing, altering plays that you want. You add him to that line, how fearsome is that defensive line going to be? It's going to be one of the best going round, and they're getting coached by a guy who seems to be maximizing the potential out of everybody. So I think it's worth putting the extra money in there for him because you don't have a ton invested in it already. So I think you've drafted plenty.
I'd love to get Jalen Carter because I think he could be that guy, but I just don't see him falling to 6. Jalen Carter is the best defensive tackle in the draft. He is one of those players. Now, if we could get him, I'd be cool with it, not getting Payne, but Payne's so damn good. I think if you're just one DT away from being elite, like taking that defense to the next level and getting turnovers because these quarterbacks can't stand in the pocket anymore. Look at 2014 with Ndamukong Suh and what they did with the defensive line in the interior there. It was just making the defense all around really good. I think that would be someone I would like. I would make a phone call. I'm gonna call up your agent. We're gonna make a phone call. Not saying I'm gonna get it done, but I'm gonna make a phone call. If I'm not doing it, not making that phone call, you're not trying to make your team better. Who's the biggest threat to the Lions winning the NFC North? The Minnesota Vikings. I think they're the biggest threat. Feels like Green Bay is kind of going downward, and the Chicago Bears got a ways to go. What do you think about that, AG? Who do you think's the biggest threat?
Themselves.
That's true.
I just feel like they got a lot of stuff going on that's positive, and if they start smelling themselves too quick, trying to pull up the old Lions are old, and I mean I remember they went 11-5 and they pooped the bed the next year. I'm in the stern belief that this team got to stay focused. We know everybody's gonna do their homework on that offense, those zone splits, those motions. Everybody's gonna do their homework on that offense. Everybody knows everybody's gonna come with it with that offense, and it's on that defense to get better. So, the books is in. Everybody understands what the Lions have in store for everybody. So they have to push past their own limitations and then start off the year hot and then finish hot as well. So
Noah Sewell, a lot of hype before the season started. Then the season started, he's a little underperformed. In my opinion, he's now, I'd say, almost fourth ranked linebacker in this year's draft. Trent Simpson, I'm going to put him obviously above. I like Jack Campbell. I like even 2-0 over him. What do you think about Noah Sewell? Where do you think he lands, AG? Obviously, you're shaking your head. You want to talk about some
hmm
Sewell.
yeah. So when it comes to Noah Sewell, he didn't increase on the physicality, and he's too finesse to really. I was watching him in hopes of getting him. I was watching him in hopes of getting him, but there
Yeah.
was a couple linebackers who didn't show their face. They didn't show who they really were. I think he's probably a late first round pick, not a top first round pick. Also, Overshown, another one, is
Overshown, yep.
a guy who was a phenomenal guy last year, and in this past year, it hasn't been as dominant. But I think Noah Sewell is that player that that player that's at 32 that you could look at 32 and down. From 32 to 80, you could look at him and say, "Hey, look, I know I got a nice linebacker in a second. He's not as physical, but he's not as finesse. He's kind of just a normal guy. He's regular. He's going to have 550 tackles. He's going to have 50, 75 tackles, and he's not going to be a superstar, or we can return him to superstar level." So I think that he's a quality pick. I'm just disappointed in his play as of the last year because he was on my radar to be a top 5 pick.
Yeah, I have him second round. He's just. What
Yeah,
do you think about Sewell there, Ant Man? Um,
Yeah, I've been disappointed this year.
yeah,
There was a time when he was considered to be the top guy out of his, three him and his two brothers. He was considered to be the most talented soul of
yeah.
the lot of them, and we've seen how good Pene is. But again, I've watched him this year, and I've been disappointed. I said before the season I'd give my first round pick for him right at the beginning of the year. Now I wouldn't. There are other linebackers I like better. I just think he's disappointed in the whole, and I'm not. If he's there in the second, and my options aren't there on the board, I would maybe consider it. But yeah, no, I'm not going to get drawn in by Pene and what he's done for this team and an emotional decision. I just think he's not been good enough.
Have you seen the Touchdown Network's most recent mock draft? They have the Lions moving back to 9, getting Miles Murphy in a third and a future first. Thoughts? They must be watching my mock drafts because I've been having them. I have having the Lions trade back from 6 to 9 in the last 2 of them. Now I have the Lions getting an extra second round pick, not getting a future first and a third. I tell you what, I would love that future first. God dang, I may do that deal over my own. I just think it makes a lot of sense. You're going to miss out on the talent, the top blue chip talent. I don't think Miles Murphy would be there at 9, and that would be a huge. I think he's already gone even before 6. But I think trading back makes a lot of sense, and the Panthers, they need a quarterback. So I want to trade back. And I know, Ant-Man, we were talking about before we went live, you want to trade back.
Yeah, I would. I'd take that deal in a heartbeat because you're pulling someone's pants down there. The difference between 6 and 9 is not huge. The third would probably cover it if it's a high one. So for you to get a third and a future first and still get 9, you would be absolutely pulling their pants down. So I'd take it. I just don't think we would get a deal like that. I don't think you'll get a future first moving down 3 picks unless there's a quarterback there and you're going to fleece someone for them. I think that's the only hope you've got of driving such a hard bargain for it. But I would prefer to go back to 9. I just don't think we'll get that much for it.
What do you think about trading up and down in the draft there, AG?
Yeah, I think the Lions are more of a trade up team than a trade down team. But I mean, in the first round, if we're talking first round, but I'm open to it. Again, I would have to see more prospect data. With the prospect that I have, names are just names right now. With the exception of Noah. Noah is one of my guys I was watching. Overshown, one of my guys I was watching. But This Miles Murphy, it's definitely gonna be a name I look forward to. I'm actually I'm interested in seeing what this Gonzalez has to offer too. But I don't think the Lions are a team that trade down, trade back. If they love a guy at 6, they love a guy at 6. I think they've shown and proved like, hey, look, we love this guy here. We know we can love him. We're gonna take him. We're gonna hand the card in early. We're gonna hand the card in quick. And I think that's what they've done in the past. And I predict them to do the same. Stay put and
Jalen
turn
Carter
that
or
card
Will
in.
Anderson fall to 6th spot. You for sure draft them dead, yes? If they were there, you know how fast Aiden Hutchinson's card went up and how the NFL was mad at the Lions for making it quick? It would be quicker than that.
I'd shout it from the booth we were sat at. I'd just shout the name across to them. That one.
Yeah. Yep, there you go. You already know who's the pick. Yeah, if that were to happen, that's like the gods, the football gods loving and praising us. That's what that would be. Yeah, there's no doubt I won't trade out of that pick. I'm just go ahead and take that bad boy. Should we get Bijan Robinson at 18? Ant-Man, thoughts on getting Robinson? He's sitting there at 18. You gonna make people...
It's my absolute guilty pleasure. I'm not gonna lie. It's not rash. If I was rationally thinking, I wouldn't do it. But the run game is so important to the Detroit Lions. We live and die by our run game, and we saw parts this year when it wasn't going well. The team was awful, and I feel like I know running backs devalued in the draft, but I think the running game's that critical to us that you have to treat it like a priority. So again, we've got 5 picks in the top 80, so we're not going to be short on getting defensive talent in this draft and bulking that up. So why not use one of your picks, one of your big picks, and go after a big skill player to come through here? You put Bijan in that backfield, with DeAndre. I mean, if Jamal's back on a little bit of money, the possibilities are endless. He is a game changer. There's no other way about it. He's such a good running back. He will carry a full workload for you, something Swift's never been able to do. The missed tackle rate is incredible. Get him out in open field one-on-one. It's hard to bring him down. Behind our offensive line, we could really do some damage with him there. So I'm open to it. I don't care about the devaluing of the running back thing. I know you can get him in the 7th round and that, but the top 2 running backs who went last season, one of them would have been Offensive Rookie of the Year if he'd stayed healthy. The other possibly should be. There's nothing wrong with drafting a guy that high. I'd 100% do it. I would.
If you ain't smashed that like button, go ahead and do it right now. We got 38 likes. Love to get to at least 50, so that's 12 more. What do you think, AJ, Bijan Robinson, best running back in this year's draft? Saquon Barkley compare. You're sitting at 18. He's there. He's, top talent-wise, he's a top 5 talent. Like, this dude's special. But it's a running back, and you need defense. What do? You're sitting at 18. Bijan Robinson's there. A top cornerback is there. Or a linebacker, which I don't think they go linebacker anyways. But what would you do?
It would mainly depend on my, self scout on the running backs that I do have. Am I signing Swift? Am I doing X, Y, and Z? At that point, you and the people in the room know whether you're re-signing Swift or whether you're drafting this guy to push Swift or you're re-signing 30. But at the end of the day, I like the pick. It's interesting to me because Alexander, Swift, 30, everybody's an old running back. Everybody's going to be 25 up. So I would go, and he's at 18.
18. Sitting there, you got top corners, ton of corners. You need cornerback depth.
You got a ton of corners?
There's a lot of corners in this draft. A lot. And they're probably I would not be shocked if there's a nice run on corners, between pick 12 and up.
Yeah, at 18, if there's some corners, some star corners, like some real tough caliber corners that are going to take a side of the field away, no. But if they're just running the mill starters, like going to need development, stuff like that, Like, nah, I'm gonna just go with the fact that if there's a corner or defense on the board, we got to fix that defense. Unfortunately, I like Bijan Robinson. I like his physicality, but I also know there's running backs from Alcorn State that are very good. I also know there's running backs from Oregon that are very good, and I'm willing to take those guys if they enter the draft. So
I'm looking at corner at 18, in all honesty, and there's a ton that will be there. One of these guys is going to be there. Cam Smith, Gonzalez, Witherspoon, Porter. Someone's going to be there. At least I'm looking there. But I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to be aggressive, and I got 2 second-round picks. I'm tempted to trade up in the first round. Because if you add 2 second-round picks that we have, it's 900 points, and it's 850 points at pick 19. From Tampa Bay's only got 5 picks in the draft. So I'm calling Tampa Bay up at pick 19 after I draft that corner and say, hey, I got to give you 2 second-round picks here. Let me jump up to that pick. Give me some Bijan Robinson. And then, there we go.
yeah.